All right, so today we're diving into something that, you probably think you already know.
Oh.
Mead.
Ah,
Yeah,
mead.
images of, Vikings and big feasts and horns, that kind of thing.
Right.
But mead is a lot more than just that Viking image, right? And we've got some really cool material to dig into.
Yeah.
We're looking at Mad Med Promeler, Emgerd Og Ragnarok
Yeah.
by Jan Ort. It's a fascinating look at mead, and we're going to give you a quick but a really, really solid understanding of what mead is really all about, like the history of it, and some really surprising things. I think people are going to be really surprised about some of this stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a fascinating deep dive, and I think it's really going to challenge a lot of people's assumptions about this ancient drink. so, so, okay. When you think of mead, you probably think, okay, Vikings, Scandinavia, right?
Right.
Strong, honey-flavored, maybe like a beer, you know?
Yeah, something like that. It's the typical kind of image that we have, thanks to, I guess, popular culture.
But this book actually clarifies right away a couple of things about that.
Oh.
First of all, mead's not a beer at all. It's a wine. It's made from fermented honey.
Oh.
So that's one thing right there. And the second thing is, it's not really a Viking thing. It goes way, way, way back, like thousands of years before the Vikings.
Really? Thousands of years. Wow, that's interesting. So where does it actually come from? Where's the earliest evidence?
Well, according to this book, the earliest evidence we have actually takes us to northern China.
China.
Yeah, northern China, around 6500 BCE. So that's, to put that in perspective, that's about 7,500 years before Gorm the Old.
Okay.
Which, he's considered a pretty significant figure in early Danish Viking history.
Yeah.
So we're talking way, way back. And get this is even about 1,500 years before the wheel shows up in China.
Wow. So mead is older than the wheel.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That's amazing. That really puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what was life even like back then?
You can only imagine, right? I mean, what a world. And to think that this drink was around back then, it really makes you wonder, how did they even come up with this?
It really does. So it starts in China. Does it stay there, or where does it go from there?
Well, it eventually makes its way to Europe.
Okay.
Around 2000 BCE.
Okay.
So, that's a long journey.
Yeah, that's a huge journey, both geographically and, through time.
Exactly.
So when it gets to Europe, where is it? Like, is it just in one place?
Well, the book indicates that it was actually pretty widespread. It talks about evidence from like northern Scotland all the way down to the Roman Empire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So both, historical accounts and physical artifacts suggest that, this was a thing. It was all over.
So that's interesting that it goes to, that it pops up in all these different places. Scotland and Rome are on the same time.
Right. You have to wonder, was it, maybe there were trade routes that helped it spread, or was it just the fact that honey was, pretty readily available in these places, and so maybe people just kind of stumbled onto it independently? It's a fascinating question.
Yeah, it really is. And, speaking of the Romans, that's interesting because, they had their own thing going on with wine.
Right. Absolutely. They were very much into their grape wine. But what's really cool is that they also had this practice of actually enhancing their wine with honey.
Really?
Yeah. So they would take this spiced sweet honey syrup called mulsum.
Mulsum.
Yeah. And they would serve it before the main meal. So, kind of like an early aperitif.
Oh, that's so interesting. even with like a very established wine culture, this idea of a honey-sweetened drink is still appealing.
Right. It really speaks to the, the enduring appeal of honey in beverages. I mean, we still do it today.
Yeah. So how do you think, or how does the book say mead came about in the first place?
Okay, so think about this. You've got, ancient times, you've got honey, you're storing it. It's probably in, a clay pot or something. Maybe it's left outside and then, rainwater gets in or something.
Right.
And then, boom, you've got fermentation happening, natural fermentation.
So it was an accident.
Pretty much. The book says that's the most likely scenario.
I wonder what that first taste was like. You find this pot, it's been sitting out there, probably doesn't smell great.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine it was particularly delicious at first.
Yeah.
Maybe a little funky.
Yeah.
But the book points out that it probably would have had some noticeable effects.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little, intoxication.
Uh-huh.
And then, boom, you've got people getting curious.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what if we add more honey? What if we add more water?
Right. Experiment.
Exactly. Human ingenuity.
So from a mistake to, a drink that's been around for thousands of years. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't just, some random thing. It really had a huge impact on cultures all over the world. I mean, different societies, different religions, mead pops up everywhere. It's a really, really interesting history. And it's still being made today.
And enjoyed.
Yeah. Wherever you find honey, you're probably going to find mead.
Okay, so we have to talk about the Vikings, right? Because that's what we think of. That's the image.
Yeah, it's inseparable. It's really deeply ingrained in the popular imagination, and for good reason, too. I mean, Norse mythology, it's full of stories about mead.
Okay, so like what kind of stories are we talking about?
Oh, well, there's the one about Odin and the mead of poetry.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Tell me about that.
Oh, it's a classic. So Odin, he's, disguised, and he manages to sneak into this mountain that's owned by a giant named Suttung.
Okay.
And Suttung's daughter, Gunlid, she's guarding this special mead. It's called the Skaldic Mead.
Skaldic Mead.
Yeah. And it supposedly gives you poetic inspiration, like amazing poetry skills.
Yeah.
So Odin, he seduces Gunlud, steals the mead, and, being Odin, he turns into an eagle to fly back to Asgard.
That's smart.
Yeah. But in his haste, he spills some of the mead.
Oh, no.
And according to the myth, that spilled mead, that's the share that bad poets get.
That's so funny. I love that. Divine espionage and mead spillage, But
Yeah.
there's also the story about, what is it? Hydrun, the goat in Valhalla.
Oh, yeah, Hydrun. She's great. So she's this goat, and she lives on the roof of Valhalla, the hall where the fallen warriors go.
Right.
And she basically spends her time, hanging out with a squirrel named Retatosk.
A squirrel.
Yeah, he's kind of like a messenger. He runs up and down Yggdrasil, the world tree,
All right.
gossiping between the gods and the serpent, Nidhogg, who lives at the roots. It's the whole thing.
Okay.
But the point is, Hydrun has this amazing udder that produces just tons and tons of mead, and it just flows constantly into a big barrel in the middle of Valhalla.
So mead is like an unlimited reward for those warriors in the afterlife. That's really interesting.
Right, like you died honorably in battle, you get to go to Valhalla, hang out with the gods, feast, and drink all the mead you want. I mean, for a warrior culture, that's a pretty powerful image.
Absolutely. But, the book goes a little deeper, a little darker with mead and the Vikings, doesn't it?
It does. So there's this idea that mead might have also been used as like a performance enhancer for Viking warriors.
Like doping.
Kind of. The book suggests that they might have added things to the mead, like thorn apple, maybe some funny mushrooms,
For a little extra kick.
Well, it wasn't for everyone. It was supposedly for these specific warriors, the elite.
Okay, so what was the effect? What were they trying to do?
They wanted to create these, these berserkers.
Berserkers.
Yeah, like imagine charging into battle completely naked in a blind rage, no fear, just pure fury. It would have been terrifying to see.
Naked. That's wild.
Right. The book talks about the psychology of that. Being naked, it's like you're saying, I don't care about my safety. I'm not afraid of you.
Very intimidating. It's like next level.
It's primal.
Rep.
And, the book also suggests that this nudity could have been symbolic, too. Maybe it represented, like, a sense of invulnerability, or maybe it was a way to honor a war god.
Oh, like a dedication.
Right. A complete offering of yourself to the battle, body and soul.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack. So, okay, the name of the book in J-Dog Ragnarok, that brings in this idea of Ragnarok. And then the book talks about a modern mead called Ragnarok.
Yes. It's a distilled organic mead.
Distilled. That's different.
Yeah, it's not your typical mead.
So what's the connection between this ancient myth of Ragnarok and this new drink?
Well, the name Ragnarok, it refers to this huge event in Norse mythology. It's the twilight of the gods. It's this final battle between good and evil, order and chaos. And then after that, the world is reborn.
Oh, right. It's the end of the world, but then a new beginning.
Exactly. So it starts with all these, terrible omens, natural disasters, a 3-year winter, no summer.
Okay.
And then it's the big battle. Even the most powerful gods like Odin, Thor, Tyr, they all die fighting giants and monsters.
So everybody's going down.
Yeah, and then the world is destroyed by this massive fire and sinks into the sea.
Okay.
But then a new Earth rises up. It's fertile, it's beautiful, and it's populated by the few gods who survived and the descendants of 2 humans who managed to make it through.
So it's a very dramatic ending, but then hope.
Right, rebirth. And the book mentions that this idea of Ragnarok, it became even more well-known because of Wagner's opera,
Yeah.
The Ring Cycle.
Right.
And the last opera is called Götterdämmerung, which means Twilight of the Gods. It's a very similar story.
Okay, so this Ragnarok mead, it's not actually, bringing about the apocalypse.
No, not at all. The book makes it very clear that this distilled mead is all about new beginnings. It's like a new beginning for mead itself. It's something totally different.
So it's more hopeful than apocalyptic.
Exactly.
So tell me about this Ragnarok mead.
Yeah.
What makes it so special? How do you even make distilled mead?
Well, it starts with organic mead, of course, and they brew it by hand, ferment it, and then they age it for at least a year.
At least a year.
Yeah. And then after that, they distill it very carefully in these small copper stills.
Okay.
And then to really make it unique, they age it again, this time in Oloroso sherry casks.
Sherry casks. Okay. I bet that gives it some interesting flavors.
It does. The book describes it as having, really full notes of vanilla. And then you also get these hints of oak, tobacco, and caramel.
Wow.
The book even says that, when you first taste it, you might think you're drinking a really good whiskey.
That's a far cry from, the typical sweet mead.
Yeah, it's a whole different experience. But, it still retains some of that sweetness and fruitiness from the mead base. So it's really, really unique.
This sounds like a fascinating drink.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask. The book includes a recipe that uses this mead, right?
It does. It's called Artichoke with crayfish and Ragnarok Mead.
Okay. That sounds interesting. What's in it?
Okay, so you'll need 4 large artichokes, half a deciliter of vinaigrette, 4 centiliters of the Ragnarok mead, 1 large zucchini, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 red chili, half a kilogram of crayfish tails, some vegetable oil for frying, and a handful of fresh chopped parsley.
Okay. That sounds ambitious.
It's not too bad, actually. So first, you trim the artichokes so they can sit flat, and then you boil them in salted water for about 20 minutes until the leaves are tender. Then you take them out and let them cool a bit.
All right, artichokes are cooking. What's next?
While they're cooking, you prepare the zucchini. You cut it in half lengthwise, scoop out the seeds, and then slice it into pieces about half a centimeter thick.
Okay.
Then you finely chop the garlic and the chili. If you don't want it too spicy, take the seeds out of the chili. Then you heat some oil in a pan and saute the zucchini, garlic, and chili for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Then you add the crayfish tails and the Ragnarok mead. Just cook it for about a minute. Let those flavors come together.
That sounds really good. Okay, so what about the parsley and the artichokes?
Right, so rinse the parsley and chop it up. Then you take the artichokes. They should be cooled down a bit now, and you got to get the inner leaves and that choke out.
Right.
The easiest way is to press your fingers around the top, twist and pull up. That should get most of it. Then you can use a spoon to scrape out any of the choke that's left.
Okay.
Now they should look like little cups. So you put them on a plate and you put some of the vinaigrette in the bottom of each one.
Right.
Last step, you spoon the crayfish and zucchini mixture into each artichoke and then sprinkle the parsley on top. And that's it. Artichoke with crayfish and Ragnarok mead.
That's amazing. It's like, history and modern cooking all in one dish.
It really is a perfect way to end our deep dive.
So this deep dive into Mad Med Promuller, Millennia Og Ragnarok, has been fascinating. I mean, mead is way older than most people probably realize.
Right. Older than the Vikings, older than the wheel.
It was all over ancient Europe. The Romans were drinking it even though they already had wine.
And the Vikings, they loved it. It was a drink for gods and heroes.
And maybe, just maybe, it was part of their battle rituals.
Yeah, the berserkers charging into battle, fueled by mead. It's a pretty powerful image.
It really is. And then we have this modern take on mead with the distilled Ragnarok mead. It's a completely new flavor experience.
A new beginning for mead.
So here's something to think about. Mead has been around for so long. It's been part of so many different cultures. I mean, how did people in different times and places really see mead? What did it mean to them? Was it just a drink or was it something more? Like a symbol or a medicine or a way to connect with the gods? And what other things that we take for granted today might have these really deep hidden histories?
It's a fascinating question. The world is full of surprises.
Absolutely. So go out there and explore, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
Cheers to that.